Well, hey there, and welcome to another Ignite Press book launch livecast. As you can see, I have someone very special here with me today. Jessica DeAngelo is here, and we're going to be talking about the wild advantage, why your brain on nature is your boldest business move. Now, before we go too far, just let you know, we here at Ignite Press specialize in helping people get their messages out to the world. And if you have a book idea, come join us at ignitepress.us and we'll talk about your book and let's figure out what to do with that. But the star of our show today, Jessica, we've been working with Jessica for a while now and have been so excited about having her book come out today. And I'm thrilled with it. So Jessica, welcome here to our call. Congratulations on the launch of The Wild Advantage.
Oh, thank you, Everett. It feels surreal to be here today. Like, you know how hard we've worked towards this launch. So to actually be launch day feels really surreal, but awesome.
Yeah, it's I for anyone who's not been through the process of a book, we talk about it as being your baby, and it is your baby, but it also means going through labor a little bit
For
to
sure.
get there. And but like a baby, and now I'm taking this, on taking this from my wife telling me this, it's all worth it. It's all worth it. So not having gone through that myself. So Jessica, congratulations on your book. I thought I would do this. I'm going to start asking you some questions, but for people who are in the audience, whether you're watching it on LinkedIn or YouTube, feel free to participate in the chat. Go ahead and say hello there. Also, feel free to ask any questions, and I'm going to try to work those questions in to the conversation as our time goes on. So, Jessica, let's start with this. Tell us first a little bit about you and your background.
Yeah, thank you. So let's see, I've worked about 15 years in corporate America. And several years ago, I pivoted to starting my own consulting business, which led me down the path of finding myself really burnout, unmotivated, uninspired in my work, and wondering what is wrong with me. And so that led me to a hike on a frozen cold mountain and a big epiphany, and that sort of started my journey to becoming a chief hiking officer and founder of the brand Hike to Become, where now I steal executive cell phones and I take business professionals out on the hiking trail to unlock clarity and breakthrough ideas. And it's all going so well, I decided to write a book about it, not just about my journey, but also everyone who has shared the trail with me over these past, I would say, 2 years that I've been doing this.
Okay. Fantastic. Now, you just used this term, chief hiking officer. I'd like to go into that. What in the world is a chief hiking officer? Because I am absolutely positive I have never met one before you.
So it's sort of a comical story, Everett, because for a while there, people didn't know what to call me. So I would go to conferences or I would speak at places, and people would come up and introduce themselves to me, and they'd be like, "I know you. You're the hiking girl," or it would just get like sort of weird. Like people didn't know how to like address me, and I decided that because actually what I do is business strategy. However, I just facilitate it through hiking unplugged. That it became appropriate to call myself a chief hiking officer because a CEO's main job is the strategic vision of a company. And so that seemed to start to resonate with people, and people were like, "Whoa, what's a chief hiking officer? And how do I become one?" So it felt way more appropriate than just the hiking girl or a business strategist or a motivational hiker. So um, yeah, chief hiking officer stuck, and I am stuck with it, and I love the title, and so does everyone else apparently. So I
Well, I
think I
think
need to get t-shirts made, Everett.
I think absolutely. And oh man, I think some people fall over themselves to be able to wear that shirt
For sure.
and and claim the title, for crying out loud.
Right.
So super great. Now the we've talked a bit about some of the things that you do with your clients and the people that you work with. I know it's off script, but do you ever have anyone push back about taking their cell phone away?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, absolutely. I think I even talked about it in the book. It's funny because everyone's so with me on the journey and like all about it. We get to the trailhead and everyone's like, "Oh, I can't wait." And then I'm like, "Okay." So everyone remember like the K in the hike method, keep tech off. Um, Actually, typically, people don't really push back on their phones so much. It's when I try to remind them to take off their smartwatches. The biggest pushback I get is people are like, "Wait a minute, how will I know how many steps I got in?" And that's just more. I have to sort of talk them back off the ledge and say, "But you're going to do the steps anyway, right? We have to get out of this place where we're just so busy counting steps and miles and putting numbers on the board
Yeah.
and really just showing up, being powerfully present." And that's where people typically freak out on me.
Now, you just reminded me, I remember going through the cover process and remember how some of the cover concepts that went through, including the cell phone being smashed, stomped
Right.
on, right? There was that. I love, absolutely love your cover, and your personal artist had a
Yeah.
great big hand in developing this in addition to our team, and it is just gorgeous. You guys did a fantastic job with this.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody else agrees. So put that up there. But so really great. So why did you decide to write a book? I mean, you've been working with people.
Mhm.
What pushed you to this step? Because this is no small undertaking.
For sure. I think I started to see all the big epiphanies people were having on the trail and the clarity and the breakthrough ideas. And I started to realize that I can only scale so far. I'm only one chief hiking officer, one person, Everett, and I can't hike with everyone. And I realized that my methodology can be practiced by anyone on their own to some capacity. And I thought, you know what? If I can inspire more people to just do this for themselves, then I can help them have breakthrough clarity and kind of a way back to themselves. That was the big driver for me to write the book, is really to start a movement that takes our work outside, unplugged, to unlock better business ideas.
All right, and I think I want to dive into that more because one of the things that you talk about in your book is your hike to become challenge.
Mhm.
Can you tell us about that?
So it is modeled after what I first did when I had this breakthrough epiphany for myself. It's a 31-day challenge where you commit to showing up for 31 days to hike, which is basically a walk in nature without your cell phone, or at least your cell phone on silent, do not disturb, for at least 30 to 40 minutes. And I've put every client I've had over the past 2 years on this hike to become challenge. I practice it with corporate executive teams that I do experiences with, and almost everybody overwhelmingly um, shares with me some really key personal or even business breakthrough moments that they're having through this challenge. So when I wrote the book, it was really important to me to include the challenge as a free resource. Anyone can join it, anyone can practice on their own. There's a whole cadence set up that we walk you through it. But it is best paired, I believe, with reading the book.
All right. So, and there was another part that you talk about in this book, and your phrase it kills me because I also remember this when we were discussing your title and subtitle, "Your brain on nature."
Hmm.
That is a phrase I've not heard quite before. So, tell us in this case why your brain on nature is the boldest business move you can do.
Well, just a little insider scoop is the brand Hike to Become and a lot of basically all the marketing efforts. I try to just show up authentically and be very punchy and borderline hilarious. And sometimes I like to borrow Everett really fun marketing campaigns from the past. So you and I are old enough, might date us both, but you and I are old enough to remember Your Brain on Drugs and the big Dare campaign in the 90s. And I thought, how fun would it be to play the reverse of that? Of what if your brain on nature, which is essentially what the book is about, is this positive thing, but anyone like us who's old enough to remember the 90s, I think it kind of has this, I know what she's talking about kind of moment. So,
Yeah, I can still envision the frying pan
Right,
with
the egg
yeah,
on
this
the
is your brain
sidewalk.
on drugs.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, shoot, and that just pushed right out of my head the next question I was going to ask you.
All good.
So that's terrible. But
Maybe you
so
need a hike, Everett. Maybe like a
apparently,
brain hike.
apparently I do. Um, you're, you know, who'd you write the book for? Like who did you write The Wild Advantage for, and what do you want them to get out of it?
So when I started writing the book, I would say I really wrote it for the business professional, the people that are trapped behind their desk. And it doesn't matter whether you work remotely, at home, or in an office, that's irrelevant. We're all sort of subject to these societal expectations that proper working means that we're behind a desk, in an office, behind a computer screen, tethered to our cell phone. And I want to shatter all of that. So I wrote it for anyone that believes that or feels like the only proper way to get work done is on technology or inside. But what's interesting, ever, is when I sent the first copies of the manuscript out to content editors, I had a great, like, wide range of people that I sent it to. Some people that are in education, some people that are not in the business world, and overwhelmingly, I got the feedback that book is for everyone. Everyone can apply the methods in this book, whether you're a business professional or not.
Okay. So, and that's a tough claim, right? In the sense that in marketing, right, you always talk about if something that's for everybody is really something that's for nobody,
For nobody, sure. And I
right?
didn't set out to do that, but I guess it happened by accident. And that I don't want to limit my readers to just business professionals. That's of course who it's geared towards.
Yeah.
But I'm finding that everyone can apply this because everyone needs breakthrough ideas and everyone needs to sort of unlock clarity.
Well, and what a joy to create something that's for a niche and then to find it has broader appeal. That's the way to do it. That's the way that you want to see it done. Now, there are a couple questions that
Right.
we're getting in the chat, so I want to bring some of them up. So let's go to this one. Zelda asked, "What's the most surprising thing you discovered while researching or writing your book?"
Um, I think I had like this moment of absolute delight. I felt actually quite emotional and like I had to go for a hike right after this. But I had the opportunity to interview Dr. David Strayer from the University of Utah, who is one of the chief, I would say, architects of studying the human brain in nature. And I spent an hour with him on Zoom. I was blown away because I was able to share, okay, so here's why I'm writing the book, and here's what I'm experiencing with clients on the trail. And what David was so succinctly able to do is that he broke down the science behind what his research shows, why that's happening. And I really feel like it made the book come to life in a way I had hoped and dreamed Everett it would. But like he shared research that even it was more than like, whoa, it was mind blowing to be like, now I understand. I've been seeing it like in my real world case studies. And what David was able to do is say, okay, but here's why. And here's the science. And here's why the metrics matter and the hike methodology you've come up with that matters and the timing matters. And so, well, maybe not surprising, it was like a pinch me moment of, wow, I'm not just making this up. This isn't woo woo. This isn't a placebo effect. This is real. And so that was pretty amazing. I'm so honored to include his work in the book. He's the key interview in chapter 8, Your Brain on Nature, and his brilliant colleague, um, Amy. So I'm huge fans of their work, and I hope that the book helps highlight how important it is that we study human beings back in nature in our natural habitat off of technology.
Wow. I can imagine a little bit of the emotion that would have gone through your mind during that time, because it's like it's supposed to be what the scientific method is about: make a natural observation and then see if the scientific underpinnings, the data actually supports your observations. And
Right.
so for you to get that kind of validation of what you were already seeing and experiencing with your clients, I'm sure was very powerful.
Right.
I want to let everyone know that The Wild Advantage is available now on Amazon, where you can pick it up in paperback or in Kindle. The Kindle's on a special launch price right now of 99 cents, and it's not going to be that way for long. So pick it up. If you're watching this on a recording and it's no longer 99 cents, I'm sorry, but it's worth every bit of it anyway. But anyhow, paperback and Kindle are there. I would also point out that this is a very applicable book to other people, especially, of course, those in the business world or in a leadership role outside of the business world. And I think it'd be a great gift. Also, I would say a great corporate gift. So if this is something, if you run a company and you think, hey, I'd like to put a gift in the hands of my clients, I think this would be a fantastic gift for that. And again, you can pick those books up on Amazon. So I sometimes get to this question, and I wonder, when you're in the process of writing the book, you're uh, you're pulling on all this information that's in your head, and sometimes it's in your head and you don't know it's there. Was there any portion of the book that kind of wrote itself, or that surprised you while it was happening?
So I had this moment, Everett, where it was probably back in May, and I had made my mind up that I really wanted to finish this book project. But at the time, I was only at like 16,000 words. I was frustrated. I couldn't figure out how to dedicate the time to like really finish writing it. I'm a mom of two toddlers. I'm building a business and a brand. Like, I'm a busy woman. And so my husband encouraged me to go away to a cabin in the woods and practice what I preach, basically unplug from life and mom and building the business. Um, I did that. I stayed at a cabin up in McCall, Idaho for about 3 or 4 days, and I unplugged from everything. And I didn't worry about anything except for writing. The first night I just passed out at 7 p.m. and like fell asleep till 5 a.m. because I'm just tired from writing so much. But that weekend, Everett, I didn't worry about anything except for two things: hiking and writing. And I think that weekend alone, I came up with another 10 to 12,000 words. And I would hike, and then I would like be like, oh yeah, I have to include that story, or oh yeah, I have to interview that client. And I apologize to you. I feel like I gave you a heart attack because I remember like emailing you and be like, I'm gonna start interviewing people, and you're like, what are you doing? like it's you already wrote the manuscript. But I think that part of the book is where I think that McCall trip is where it stopped being my book project and started to be what it was meant to be, and I was just the guide to bring it to life.
You did give us a bit of a gut check when that we got that message, or
Yeah,
we thought, wait, I thought we're well beyond that
yeah.
stage. But
I was like, no, I think
um,
I should interview people, and you were like, what?
now Stephanie asked a question that I wanted to ask, so I just appreciate her jumping to it. What was your biggest breakthrough, or a client's breakthrough, as a result of this approach? And this kind of puts you on the spot. So I'm not going to say what is your biggest, but what is a big breakthrough that you or a client had through your method?
So I recently did an executive experience with a corporate team, a global team that's launching a product, and trying to grow sales in this particular product category. We spent 2 hours in nature. We were hiking together, and I did a series of trail prompts. We were all unplugged. And I encourage these executives who rarely find the time to be alone with their thoughts, let alone hike, to really think very creatively. And I said, any wild idea is welcome here. I want us to play like children when we're thinking about ideas on how to increase the sales of this particular product category. So we were out there on the hiking trail for like 2.5 hours. Everett, we did a little forest bathing. And then when we got back to the conference room, I helped them walk through unpacking all the wild ideas they had with their hiking partners. And we put a couple of really exciting things up on the board that I believe would not have otherwise happened not applying this method. I can't let the cat out of the bag on some of the things they came up with, but we were laughing in the room and they were carrying on, and it was like we were really having fun working. I suspect that they're going to apply a couple of the methods that we unlocked, and TBD on how that affects the business. But overall, they were all refreshed, invigorated, and we came up with some really crazy, exciting marketing ideas to really grow the business in this particular category.
I think that, one of the things where you shine and your methodology shines is in that creativity area. Um, I definitely support that idea that we all spend way too much working in our business and forget that we also need to work on our business. And
Hmm.
sometimes that means getting away. It's fun. It's kind of funny. It's like some of my best ideas, right, will come during an airplane flight, right, where I'm flying on an airline somewhere, because I can't be responding to email and checking. Well, now you can, but um, you know, so I appreciate that, and it's one of the reasons I know that your book, we are published in one of the creativity categories on Amazon, was as a result
Hmm.
of that.
Sure.
So now, was there, like, what I also find happens when it comes to writing a book is, and people don't talk about this much, but there's this power, this impact that happens. We always think that we're writing the book in order to impact the world, and that the impact of the book is out there somewhere. But in the process, we usually find also that the book impacts us as we're writing it. Um, Sometimes it's allowing us to organize our thoughts differently, realize things we didn't realize, find things we didn't know, learn how to say this is something better,
Hmm.
and I'm assuming that there's some part of that journey that you encountered. And I don't know if there's any particular thing that you want to share there, but I'd also like to know, and I didn't prepare you for this, is there a favorite part of your section of your book? Is there any part of your book that you would want to read for us? I totally didn't prepare you. I should have.
You didn't.
Yeah,
Well, let
no
me.
pressure.
No,
Or
it's
just
totally fine. Let me answer your first question, and that would be like the impact of the book or anything that really impacted me. And I'll just be very honorable or vulnerable and honest as I usually am. Building a business and a brand is really hard. Everett, you've done it. And I think somewhere in the middle of writing this book, I kind of reached a bit of a wall myself and started to wonder, like, gosh, is this worth it? Like, what am I doing? Is this too crazy? And then I got to that interview process we talked about, which forced me to call clients that I've spent time with on the trail a year ago, a year and a half ago. And I can remember really fondly several interviews that I actually teared up and cried because people shared insights with me that I had no idea had happened in their life after our hike time together or after they completed the hike to become challenge. And so the book changed me. The Writing the book in the most non-cliche way ever almost inspired me to keep showing up with my hiking boots doing what I'm doing, because had I not written the book or tried to interview these people, I think almost like would I ever know the impact that it had? But in the interview process, it kind of exploded my awareness of like, no, this work really matters and people are taking something away from it. And so there's been some really special moments with people that are interviewed in the book. I won't give it away, but Rick Rice has a special place in my heart forever and always. He's featured in chapter 4. You can read about his story in the book. Um, there's just been so much positive feedback, and that has helped me to keep going, even on hard days, on days when it's hard to build your business and your brand, to remind myself this work matters and I need to keep showing up. So, does that answer your question, maybe?
it does, and and you're doing that while being a mother of toddlers and a wife and all of that. I understand your husband has appointed himself your chief marketing officer. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
so he has a full-time, job for sure that he focuses on, but, I joke that he moonlights on evenings and weekends as the self-appointed head of sales and marketing, whether I want him to be or not. So oftentimes I'll find that he has texted friends or neighbors or shared some exciting news about the book launch, that I was like, "Oh, maybe I can't tell people about my work I'm doing because you already have." So he's my biggest cheerleader. I would not be here without my husband. He's amazing. And he is always, from the first day I did my own hike to become challenge, he has always pushed me out the door. He's reminded me that this work matters. And I wouldn't be here without him.
Huh. I love it. I love it. So is this a case, and behind every good woman, there's a good man? Is
Yeah,
that what this one is? I've heard the other one enough, but
there, right.
at least we got this instance. I love it. In I think it's chapter 10, you talk about radical self-awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And one of your quotes I read is radical self-awareness forces us to slow down, breathe deeply, and understand who we truly are when no one else is looking, without judgment. Without judgment. That's interesting. Can you talk a little bit more about radical self-awareness?
Sure. I think we live in the so to give it some more context. We live in an age where we are bombarded with everybody's social media highlight reels. And so we're in this constant comparison thread with other people. And that's really affecting our psyche in a negative manner. So, what I'm encouraging people to do is oftentimes we'll have these moments of self awareness, Everett. And as human beings that are now living in a social media highlight reel for people, we're jumping to these conclusions of, I'm not physically fit enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not this enough. So, we have these moments of self awareness and we jump to the judgment and how to fix it. And what nature essentially, especially chapter 10 is all about a backpacking trip I took where I was unplugged for days. What radical self awareness forces us into is if you can really sit with yourself without jumping to judgment, you can appreciate yourself in a way that a lot of people never even get to in their lifetime. And so I encourage people to really sit with themselves in nature, in movement, unplugged for a period of time, days, if you can do a backpacking trip. And you're going to come to some conclusions about yourself that you wouldn't otherwise have and appreciate who you are if you can just not jump to the area where we seek to fix it and make it better.
Wow. Okay, I've got one more question for you. This is maybe the hard one. I'm not sure. But if someone were to write you a letter a year from now about your book, they said, I read your book, and what would you want to hear? Like, what would you love to hear a reader tell you about your own book?
Mm. Um, well, so I'm going to maybe give it some more context. I keep a shoebox, Everett, in my office. And it's a beat up old cardboard shoebox. And it is a bunch of letters I've received from people who have not read the book, but people who have had experiences with me over the past 2 years. And so when I think of answering this question, I think back to those letters and have one actually right in front of me that didn't make it in the shoebox yet. And, you know, I'm just going to read this because
I was just say, you can read it if you like.
So this is from Beth Mund. She is the executive director of Stories of Space. And she recently was on a Hike to Become retreat with me. And she just sent me a thank you card because she's such a class act. It says, Dear Jessica, thank you for making our Hike to Become experience so epic. From the small details like the local chocolate to the bags, notebooks, and mapped out trail, everything was special and so enjoyed. The food was spectacular, the views were phenomenal, and the women were incredible. Thank you for putting together a trip of a lifetime. I'm going to be yearning to go back for a long time, and I think your clever way of helping us build our strategic plan is your beautiful, talented, wild advantage. How lucky we were to have your guidance and brilliance. Thank you for all you gave us. Thank you for all that you did for us. Thank you for being you.
Wow.
Can't ask for better than that, Everett. And Beth has read the book as well. I should mention that. She was one of my advanced reader copies.
I can't think of a better way to end our time together. And Jessica, congratulations again on your book. And of course, those people out there, go pick up the book on Amazon and do that. Jessica, it's been a joy working with you. And on behalf of my team, thank you so much for the work you've put in and trusting us with your baby.
It's been an honor, Everett. Ignite has been fabulous to work with, and I'm so grateful for you and Zelda and Malia and for all of the hard work you've all put in to help me launch the Wild Advantage.
Thank you so much. Congratulations again, and we'll take it out with this.